So, why you should be excited for sailing? Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about sailing, the new skill being added to Old School at the end of this year, and sort of why so many people are upset with the skill and upset with the content that is coming into the game. Today's video, I'm going to kind of explain on how it's not going to be so bad and that all of the content with sailing will actually be amazing for the game. I think people are worried that Old School RuneScape won't actually be Old School anymore once they add a new skill. Also, people could be really worried about updates in the past, like the evolution of combat, which turned out horribly and killed the game. So without any updates, the game would simply die. And, you know, it's been proven before, right? When they first launched Old School and they weren't putting updates into the game at first, you know, the players kept going down and down and down, and eventually they got a small development team, and now it is what we have now, and it's just crazy, and we're getting a lot of updates, right? More and more people come into the game, but if the game simply never got any updates, it would probably be completely dead right now, right? That's kind of just how it is with any game, really, and that's kind of the reason a lot of the World of Warcraft players recently have come over to Old School RuneScape, because they see the game as a more long-term thing and a better use of their time, that they can actually see the progression and it will help them in the future, right? So what they do now will matter later. If we take a look at the maps, the differences between when Old School RuneScape first came out 12 years ago now, and then we have the RuneScape today, you can see the map is significantly bigger. We have a whole nother landmass on the other side, which is almost the same size as the original map if you really think about it that way. It's kind of crazy. So yes, over the past 12 years, lots of great content has been added to Old School RuneScape to kind of make it the perfect game and the game that we all love and know today. We've got things like the Ironman mode, you know, tons of different raids, countless, hundreds of bosses in the game, and it's just a much better game than it was 12 years ago, right? And you know, some updates have been good, some have been bad. Not everyone agrees on every update, but the game has been seeing the number going up and up and up, and we are just hitting peak after peak. And yeah, it goes to show that these great updates bring more players into the game. So why can't sailing be a great update? I know there's a lot of different opinions on it. It's not exactly gonna be perfect. You know, there's not everyone's gonna love the skill, right? But it can be great for the game. Not everyone has to love every piece of content that comes into the game. And with such a big thing like sailing, there will be something for everyone. The two things that I hear the most is we could get all of these updates without sailing, and yes, I agree with that, right? We've got a brand new landmass, like I said, the size of almost the old map, and, you know, we didn't sail there, we just, you know, teleported there, got a ship over there, a charter ship without the sailing skill in the game, right? So I totally agree that all these updates, the new islands and everything that will come with sailing, all the new resources, they could be added to the game without sailing, so I 100% agree with that. And then the next thing that you kind of hear all of the time with sailing is that it feels more like a mini game than a skill. That's also a really good thing. So take fire making, for example. Really boring skill where you light logs over and over. Recently, they kind of changed it with the whole bonfires method, but still incredibly boring. And they fixed that with a mini game called Wintertod. Runecrafting, probably one of the slowest skills in the game that people hate quite a bit. And they fixed that with a minigame called Guardians of the Rift. Fishing, another really, really slow and tedious skill that just takes hundreds of hours to max. They fixed that with a minigame called Temporis. You get the point. Whenever I'm training certain skills with these methods and doing the mini-game version of the skill, it's much more engaging than the traditional methods, and they've been adding tons and tons of different content in the game like this, like the hunter contracts. We got mixology for herblore, you know, the list goes on and on, right? And these methods are always much more engaging than just the traditional boring quote-unquote methods. So I don't really get why people are saying it looks like a mini game rather than a skill, because all the skills, or not all the skills, but a lot of the skills in the game have almost been turned into mini games, and they're better than the traditional way of training the skill. So I hope sailing feels like a mini game. I hope it feels like Guardians of the Rift, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be boring where I just like light logs and that's it. And I think sailing is going to be such a big skill where we'll have so many different ways to actually train it, right? Even just with like the beta and alpha, we've seen like very varied training methods, all the way from, you know, the AFK method where we're looting the shipwrecks, to just sailing across the sea and exploring, you know, to doing the delivery tasks, all the way to things like the Barracuda trials. It looks like there's gonna be tons and tons of different ways to train the skill. So even training the skill, there'll be a way for everyone to do it. Like if you want to go for 99 as quickly as possible, you might want to start with the delivery tasks, right? And then just run the Barracuda trials. This is only the information that I know right now, obviously, right? Or, you know, if you work and you can work like from home or work on your phone or something, you might just want to sit back, relax, and do the ship's salvaging all day and get your 99 slowly, right? There will be a training method for everyone. I want to talk about some of the best updates that have ever come into old school RuneScape, so we can kind of compare them to how sailing will be, right? Because sailing will probably be the biggest update to ever come into the game. It's a brand new skill, right? That makes sense. So just off the top of my head, thinking of the best updates that have ever come into the game, we've got raids, right? 3 of them right now. We'll probably be getting a 4th with sailing, but raids, all the bosses, there's probably hundreds of bosses in the game now, and they add like, you know, one every couple of months now, and it's great. Quests, all the new quests, especially the Grandmaster quest, phenomenal content in the game. You know, new areas, new places to explore. Again, these new areas come with new items and new bosses, right? Again, new items, right? New weapons. If the game just didn't have any new items or weapons, it'd be kind of boring as well. And also some of the best updates that have ever come into old school RuneScape is new skilling activities such as Guardians of the Rift, Mixology, you know, the list goes on, right? And that all these updates combined into one thing is pretty much the definition of sailing. We're going to be, you know, building a ship, which, you know, is going to take our old regular resources, build up a ship, right? And then set sail and explore, which is going to be fun, make you feel like a kid again, make you not know the entire map, you know what I mean? Kind of cool. And we're going to go to these new islands to find new resources, to do new quests, to get new items, do new skilling activities, new slayer tasks, new bosses, and, you know, eventually new raids. So it's just, sailing is just a way to release all of this content, in my personal opinion, and kind of give it an exploration sort of way of doing it, rather than just teleport here, do the new boss, right? Do the quest, do the boss, that's it. We're actually gonna have to go out of our way and sail to it, and kind of it's like a journey, you know what I mean? So personally, I'm really excited for sailing, not for the skill itself, but for the content that we're going to be getting with the skill. And again, I totally agree with those people that all of the content that we will be getting with sailing could come without it. So it's just one of those things where I'm not going to try and argue that. It could come without it, and it has been for the past 12 years. It's just going to be a new way to go out and explore and find it for ourselves. And it's a really cool way of actually introducing a skill into the game. I mean, they could introduce a new combat skill like necromancy and just completely ruin combat for the game, right? They could add a new, you know, utility skill to the game, right? But at the end of the day, it might be fun at launch, but then, you know, like it's a skill like agility, for example, right? If they added something like agility today, it's, you know, it's a skill. There's a lot of content with it. There's a lot of unlocks you can get with agility, right? But once you hit 99, how many people go and actually train agility, unless it's for collection logs or this or that, right? But some of the actual really useful skills in the game, you continue to train, and I feel like sailing will be one of those skills. It's going to be a way you actually get around the game, similar to, you know, teleporting around the game. You know, I've got like, what, 25 mil magic XP from teleporting around the game, still using it all of the time, right? And then if we look at agility, it's just a little bit after max, right? So I'm really excited to get a skill that will actually be useful and we can use it past 99. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video today. I've been getting so many comments lately on every single sailing video that I make, and I'd say 70-75% of them are real positive about sailing, maybe even lower than that, but then the rest of them are all just so negative. They don't want it to come into the game and blah blah blah. And I get it, man. It's definitely gonna change the game forever, and they're gonna have to make this completely perfect, or else it could damage the game forever. But they know that they can ruin the game. They've done it before with the evolution of combat and lost 75% of their player base. I really don't think they want to do that again, and they put a lot of work into this, and it's been going on for 3 years now, so it's gonna be a masterpiece. And if you did play the alpha or beta, a lot of people's minds changed about the skill after that with the whole movement and how everything worked, right? It's going to be a lot of fun, and again, I'm not so much excited for the skill itself. I'm excited for the content that is going to come with it. But yeah, thanks for watching the video today. I will catch you in the next one. See ya later. Oh, if you watch the whole video, comment max, because I will be losing the max cape when the sailing skill comes out.